Most of you have probably taken part in the first part of this course, GeoPython or Automating GIS-processes 1 in the first period. Now this is kind of the continuation of the course. My name is Kamyar, and most of you have already seen me in the first period. So I will be the only lecturer for this course. We will have 3 assistants that will help us, but yeah. The class is quite big, like 47, 80 students have signed up. I don't know how many will continue, but the class is big. So yeah, so I don't know if you all would fit here, if everyone shows up every week. But yeah, so correcting the assignments might take a bit longer than the first period, so bear with us because there are so many students in the class. Yeah, so today, like the first half of the lecture, we will start with introducing the course, the core topics that we are going to cover, and then we will start with something easy for today, and from next week on we will start with like actual GIS in this course. So in the first period, I know that there are at least a few who have not taken the first period course. So in the first period we covered the basics of Python. So when you're starting this course, the assumption is that you know the basics of Python, so we are not going to cover that. And in the first period, we covered the basics of version controlling and using GitHub. So we're going to use the same system in this period. So we assume that you know it already. If you're not familiar or if you've forgotten already, which I doubt if you have taken the first period course, just go and check out the first period's course pages. I will show the website to you shortly. Just one thing I should tell you at the beginning is that, like as usual, we are recording the lectures. So I guess you need to know. Voice and the lectures are, the video is also recorded, which will be uploaded probably, today is quite late, it's probably next day after the lecture. And yeah, and the time of our lecture is, we will meet every week this time here. Trust me, I didn't choose this time. November 4 to 6. Yeah, but yeah, so don't blame me for that. Yes, so I will just walk you through some of the introduction. I will show you the course page and how things work. And you can, of course, ask questions at any time. Feel free to interrupt me. Yeah, so AutoGIS 2023. So officially the course is Automating GIS-processes 2, but we often refer to it as AutoGIS, so don't get confused. So what are the learning goals? We want to learn how to produce modular code. This is something we did a bit in the first period already, but of course now we get a bit more advanced. And in the first period it was called Automating GIS-processes 1, but we didn't really do any GIS. We just learned the basics of Python, and we worked with Pandas, which is just a general library for working with data in general, not GIS only. But in this period we will focus on GIS. More specifically, we will learn how to manage spatial data programmatically. For example, reading different types of data formats, GIS data formats into GIS, into using Python and working with them, doing projection, reclassification, storing data. It's the usual practices that you're used to doing if you have done GIS before. You will learn how to apply a spatial analysis method. So another assumption in this course is that you're already familiar with GIS, because we are not really teaching GIS here. We are just teaching you to use Python and a few Python packages to apply some of the spatial analytical methods that you are probably familiar with already. Yeah, so we learn how to do GIS using Python. We will create visualizations. In the first period course, you learned how to make some charts, some basic visualizations. Now we will learn a bit more dynamic approaches, and also we learn how to create maps, because of course this is a GIS course. And yeah, and you will learn to design and implement a geographical data analysis workflow. There are also some generic skills that you will gain hopefully by the end of this course. You will learn how to independently search for information regarding programming methods, because well, no one can claim that they know everything about everything, especially with programming the Python. Like the packages have so many details, so no one can claim that they know everything. So one important skill to acquire during this course is to find the right information so that you can complete whatever task that you want to do. You will learn to apply new methods, so every week you will learn a number of new methods and you will learn to apply them during this course. You will learn to critically evaluate the available methods and information sources. You will understand the importance of version control. This is again something we have done in the first period, but what we did in the first period was relatively simple, so you may not have fully understood why it is important to even bother to use GitHub. But now that things get a bit more complicated, maybe you will have a better understanding of why it is important to use version control when coding. You will learn to communicate your analysis workflow in written format through the exercises and the final assignment that we have. And of course, you will learn hopefully to complete your assignments on time. Yeah, so the course materials, we are not using Moodle or anything else. So like first period, we have a website that I already sent to you in an email I sent to everyone on Monday. So it's AutoGIS site, readthedocs.io. So every week we will update the website and release the new lesson for the week, and you will also be able to access the exercise for the week. Yeah, so you will be able to access exercises. I will show this on GitHub to you in a few minutes, but we have an organization on GitHub for the exercises, so there are the number of templates so you can check out the exercises. And of course, we will use GitHub Classroom, again like in the first period course, so you will accept the exercise and then it will create you automatically create you a repository where you can do your exercise. And we will continue using Discord for communication during the course. We just created a new Discord server for AutoGIS 2023. I already sent you the invitation link. If you haven't joined the server yet, please do so. Yeah, and again we will use CSC notebook space. We will use Jupyter Lab again for this course, for the exercises and also the lectures. So if you have done the first period course, you are already very well familiar with this. If not, we will just take a quick look now to get it started, so no worries about that. And when you join the workspace, you need to enter that code. This is also on the website, so you can find it easily. Yeah, so we will cover a wide range of topics. Today we will have most of the introduction, and then we will get started with creating the basic geometries, which are kind of the basis of GIS. So we'll learn how to create geometries and work with them a bit. From next week on, we work with more advanced, with more complicated libraries, doing more complicated GIS analysis. So next week we will be working with managing spatial data using GeoPandas library. As you can guess from the name, we work with pandas. So this is GeoPandas. It's a library building upon Panda library. So it adds some GIS capabilities to the pandas library that you are already familiar with. So we will work with that library quite a lot during this course. On the third week, we will learn how to do geocoding and make special queries. On the fourth week, we will work with reclassifying data and do overlay analysis. On the fifth week, we will have visualization. You will learn to create static and dynamic maps using several different Python libraries. And on the last week, we will work with OpenStreetMap, a couple of libraries. So we will see how to fetch network data online from OSM and also do some network analysis. So this is pretty much the content of this course in this period. Yeah, so evaluation, you will have 6 weekly exercises that account for 40% of your overall grade. And then you will have a final assignment that I will talk about a bit more in a few minutes, and then that will account for 60% of your grade. Yeah, so generally speaking, the deadlines for each week exercises. So the exercise is published the same on Wednesday, and we have our meeting here, and you have the deadline until the Thursday of the week after. So you have like 8 days to do your exercise. And on Fridays we have the exercise sessions where, similar to first period, the 3 course assistants will be there to help you with your questions. Yeah, for the final assignment, you have 2 deadlines. So if you want, well, it's better if you submit your assignment by the end of the year, 31st of December. And this way you get your credits for the course earlier, but in case you need more time to complete your assignment, you will have still time to submit it by 12th of January. Of course, we do the grading in order we receive the assignment, so the sooner you submit, the sooner you probably will get your credits. Yeah, so let's get it started. Well, not yet actually. Let's go to the website of the course. I will just give you a very short tour of what to expect from the website and where to find things. So this is the website. So similar to the first period, this is an open access website, so anyone from anywhere in the world can just join the course kind of, but of course only those who are officially part of the course from University of Helsinki or guest students from other places will get the credit and will be assessed during the course, but the material are open, so anyone from anywhere can follow the course. And as I said, we will publish the videos of the lectures, so if you can't, of course we encourage you to come to the lectures, it's just more fun if they're all here, but if you cannot make it for whatever reason, because attendance is not obligatory like in first period, so if you cannot make it, you can also follow the, of course all the materials are on the website, and you can watch the video the day after the lecture. So the course format is quite similar to first period. It will have lectures. It's just a bit, you have the same amount of credits, but the course is a bit, the lectures are shorter and you have less exercise sessions. So it's just once a week, 3 hours. So the idea is that now you are a bit more independent. You know Python a bit better, so you will have more time doing independent work. So that's the main one of the main differences between this course and the first period course. So that's why you might feel like you have a lot of contents that you go a bit more quickly through during the lecture. The idea is that you will have more independent time, like digesting the information later on. Yeah, so this course has been going on for a number of years. If you're curious to see the contents from previous years, you can go check them out. Yeah, so the lectures will be every Wednesday here, and the work sessions are on Friday in the GIS lab in Physicum building. I will be the only lecturer, and we will have 3 assistants. These are the same assistants as the first period, so most of you know them already. Yeah, so main channel of communication is Discord, but if there is something very urgent, of course you can reach us by email as well. So as I said, the course environment is, well, it's mostly, the materials are delivered all through this website. We will use Jupyter Lab. I will show that soon when we get started with the lecture materials for today. Yeah, so this is what it looks like. Again, it's probably familiar for most of you. If not, we will go through it quickly soon. So it's Jupyter Lab. You can also use Binder again, but Binder doesn't work so well with everything, especially if you're working with data. So for those of you who are officially registered to the course and you are studying in Finland, you have access to the CSC cloud. So we encourage you to use CSC cloud for following the course, but you have the option of using Binder as well. Again, we will use GitHub in this course, so for getting the lecture materials, because we are cloning from a public repository, you do not need to have a username yet, but of course for doing your exercises you need to have a GitHub account. So if you don't have it, do it, make one by the end of this week. And in the email I sent you, I asked you to provide your usernames. We need them for doing the grading. So if you haven't filled the table yet, one I send on Monday, please do so by the end of the week. Sometimes during the course we have, again, like first period, we have this Presemo polls, so to make the course a bit more interactive, because the class is big and there's a lot of material to cover every week, so this is our main way of making the course a bit more interactive. Of course, you can always ask questions and we can discuss things as well. And I talked about Discord already. And there's more information about grading here that you can check out later. I talked about learning goals. There's more detail here on the website that you can check on your own. As I said, you don't need to, we will use Jupyter Lab hosted on CSC Cloud, so you do not need to install Python or anything, but on this page you have very detailed information how to create your own Python environment. You don't need it to use it for this course, but maybe at some point during the course or after the course I advise you to take a look at this, because the CSC notebook we are using is available as long as you're a student, so you get access to it. But in future, if you are doing any of this on your own, you need to create your own Python environment and install the packages that you need. So it's worth it to take some time to look at this and practice it. But you don't need it for this course. So there are instructions how to do it on different operating systems if you're using Windows, Mac, or Linux. Yeah, so at some point you should take a look at that. More information for creating Python environment, virtual environment on different operating systems. And one more thing, like this year compared to previous years, we have this new challenge of, I don't know if it's a challenge or opportunity, but this large language models and ChatGPT and artificial intelligence. So in some of the exercises you might be, we will give you the chance to use AI if you want to, but it will be specifically mentioned on the exercise, and then you will be asked to be transparent with it. So if you have used it at some point, you will say, okay, I used it for this and to this extent. But if nothing is mentioned in the exercise, then it means that you're not supposed to use AI tools for doing the exercise, and it's for your own good because you're learning the basics, so it's easier. You learn better if you do it yourself. But you will get the opportunity during the course to try those. In the first period, we provided an introduction to AI and large language models, so we have provided a link here. So if you were not part of the course in the first period, just follow this link and read more about these tools and how you can use them for Python programming. Yeah, one thing about the exercises and the final assignment, in this period we do the exercises individually, so we do not have this pair programming anymore for the exercises, so you will do it on your own. But one difference is that now you can do the assignment that you have at the end of the course in groups of 2, where you can do it in pairs, because the final assignment is a bit more demanding, so we thought it would be nice if you get the opportunity to share the workload with someone else. We will provide more details about this final assignment later, but there are 3 or 4 topics that you can choose from. 3 of them are very detailed, so you can just follow the steps pretty much and do the project. With one of them you have a bit more freedom, so if you want to just try something out, or if you're at the same time working somewhere on some topic, you can just choose it as your project. But yeah, the idea is that you can do that in pairs. But the exercises you will submit individually. Yeah, and these are some resources. As I said, if you just follow the lectures and the contents on the website, it's enough for completing this course, but there are a number of books that if you want to learn more about certain topics, you can just check them out. There are some tutorials, and during the course we have a lot of links on the website, so if you want to learn more about certain topic, you can just follow the links and learn more. Yeah, that was the introduction. Do you have any questions? Yeah, if there are no questions, then so you learned about me a bit and what I want to cover during this period. I want to learn a little bit about you before we start with our lecture. So let's do some quick poll. So go to course environment. Somewhere we had the link to Presemo here. Where is it? Yeah, so go to this address, is presemo.helsinki.fi, AutoGIS. So there's one question open there already. So I want to learn a bit about your study background. What background are you coming from? Okay, so not many responses, but anyway, most of you are coming from geography background. Also, we have people from GIS, urban studies and planning. That's nice, we have a diverse group of students. This is nice. Okay, great. Let's continue to the second question. So how much experience do you have with GIS? Okay, so most of you have a decent knowledge of GIS already, which is great. The topics we cover GIS-wise are not super advanced, so I don't think it will be difficult from a GIS point of view, but you learn how to do it in Python, which is an important thing. So, next question. So how have you done GIS before? Okay, so most of you have used QGIS, I'm not surprised, some ArcGIS, and at least a few of you have tried programming, so doing GIS with Python and R, so you have a bit of experience, which is nice. One more question, how experienced are you with Python? Okay, so great, we don't have anyone who doesn't have any knowledge of Python. That would have been difficult. Most of you know Python somewhat, which is great, and you will get even better at it during this period. I want to know how many of you have taken the GeoPython in the first period. Yeah, so most of you have taken it already this year, so you probably remember everything pretty well. Those of you who have not taken it or have taken it last year, maybe you need to do a bit of review. There are links to the first period part of the course, so check them out. And if something was unclear, you can always ask me or the course assistants. I only have 2 more questions. So have you used GitHub before? Those who have taken the course before have certainly used it. Yeah, so everyone has used it before, which is great. That is always one of the most confusing parts of these 2 courses, like getting used to using GitHub. And then Jupyter Lab environment. Again, those of you who have taken this course before know it quite well. Yeah, so that was it. If you don't have any questions, we can start with the actual contents of today's lecture. So as usual, we go to notebooks.csc.fi. If you haven't already joined the course, the workspace space for the course, please do so now. So up here there is a place, but the code for joining the course is somewhere on the course's website. I guess it's in the course environment. Yeah, this is the code. So you will need this code to join the space. So you just copy and paste that code here, and then you click on join workspace. I have done it already. So for me it appears here. Once you do it, it should appear for you as well. So it's automating GIS-processes 2, 2023. Once you have added it, click on this power button here to start a new session. Because there are many of us trying this at the same time, it might take a bit longer than usual, but for me it was quite fast, so it shouldn't take so long for you either. So there are a few of you who have not taken the first part of this course, so just quickly I tell you what to expect here. So this is the Jupyter Lab environment. You have different kinds of tools available to you here. So you have Python, you have the terminal, you can do different kinds of things. And we have GitHub installed, so you have a plugin of GitHub that we will use a lot during this course. Instructions on how to do this, how to sign in with your account, they are in the first period website. But there are 2 folders here. One of them, if you save anything here, it will not be kept after you log out or when your session ends, so don't save anything here, but anything that you save inside your My Work folder will be saved permanently. So even if you end your session, it will be there, so save your files there. We don't use this shared folder much during this course, but if there was anything at any point to share with you, if I drop a file there, you can all access it. So inside it for you, it should be empty. I have some other files, don't mind that, but for you it should be empty. So like in the first period, every beginning of every lecture, we pull the latest changes from the notebooks repository of the course. So let's create a directory here. You can call it whatever you want. I'm going to call it lessons. And then you go into your directory. And now we want to clone the lesson for today from GitHub. So the link to the GitHub repository is on the course's website in course environment at the beginning, number 6. So you can just copy this link or go to the GitHub page. And you probably remember this from up here. You can copy the link to the repository. So it's a repository called Notebooks. So once you're inside your directory, lessons, just open the GitHub plugin, click on clone a repository, so it will just copy whatever is on the repository to your local machine here. And here you just paste the link to the GitHub repository and click on clone. So now for me it added a new folder. If I open it, inside there are lessons, and then lesson 1 is added. So every week there will be one more lesson added. We will have 6 in total. So yeah, so this is the environment we will be working in. So just as a reminder, it will be automatic, like Jupyter Lab will automatically save your changes unless you change it here. By default, it has the autosave on. So whatever you write during the course, it will be automatically saved. Yeah. And don't push any changes here, because then later on when you're pulling the next week's lesson, you will get some conflict. So you're not supposed to push any changes to the main repository for the lessons. Of course, you will do it for your exercises. But for the lessons, don't do it, otherwise you will get errors next week when you're pulling the changes. Yeah, so inside lesson 1, you have 2 notebooks. Today we are going to, well, we have the exercise that we will look at a bit later at the end of the lecture, but let's get started with geometric objects. But let's, before we do that, let's still have a look at the website, an overview of the course. We covered the learning goals already, but let's briefly talk about why you should care about this course, why you should care about doing GIS using Python. But most of us are, well, we all know GIS, and we have used mostly QGIS or other software for doing GIS, and they are very convenient. Of course, you have a nice user interface, you can do things like very easily. But there are a number of reasons why you may want to learn Python or other programming languages for doing GIS. So one of the things is this cool visualization. For those of, well, all of you have worked with ArcGIS and QGIS, and you know it can be a bit tricky. There are certain limitations, like how much you can change, especially in ArcGIS. There are a number of assumptions in the software, so you have some limitations what you can change. But with programming, you have a lot of possibilities. If you are very good at programming, basically you can do anything. You can create any kind of visualization. So for creating cool, nice-looking visualizations for your work, Python is a very good language to do that. We already saw in the first period that there are good libraries for creating different kinds of visualizations. There are some that are also good for GIS, like this one. It's created, I guess, with Folium, that we will work with later on during this course. Yeah, so they can do different kinds of things. Handling things are easy. Python libraries we will be working with are very efficient, so many of the processes you do, GIS processes, will be done much more quickly if you have written your code properly compared to ArcGIS. So that's another motivation if you're working with large data sets. Another main motivation is the name of the course, Automating GIS Processes. So very often when you are doing some analysis, you need to sometimes repeat it. If you have a large data, or if you have individual based data set and you would want to repeat the same process for a large number of people, there are like model builders and such kind of tools in QGIS and ArcGIS, but they are not so good, and you have to spend so much time learning them. You can spend the same amount of time learning Python, which does a lot better. And you can also do interesting things that are a bit more difficult with the software, like you can do geocoding, fetching data from different online sources, some of which we will practice during this course. Yeah, and there's this, so Python teaches you how to fly, like, kind of, yeah. So you're very limited when you're doing GIS in the software, but with Python, basically the limitation is the sky. The more you know Python, the more you can do. So it's a very nice thing to learn for us GIS professionals. Yeah, so a few other motivations for you to learn Python for GIS analysis. Well, It's free to use, so you don't need to, if you have worked ArcGIS, you have usually gotten the license through your workplace or through a school. Later on when you graduate, you won't have access, you have to pay for it. So with Python, you don't need to depend on any commercial product. QGIS is free, but then again, it's a product made somewhere else. With Python, you are in charge, so it gives you this freedom of using whatever you want. Through doing GIS with Python, you will gain a very deep understanding of how things work. For example, in today's lessons, we will work with geometries. You may not have thought about geometries so carefully before when you just import your data in QGIS, but with Python, you will really think about how things work. And that gives you a deeper understanding of GIS, which is good. It is efficient and scalable, so you can work with different sizes of data. It is highly flexible, and it's good because for the sake of open science, it's good. We can write a code, share with people. It can be transparent. If you do academic work, it's a great thing to be as transparent as possible. And you can combine the functionality of different Python packages. You will see, I will give you an overview just about now, that there are a lot of libraries available for you that can provide you with so many capabilities and functionalities. So you can just combine them and you can do so many things. So there is a large list of Python packages that are available to you for GIS work. Some of them are not specifically for GIS, for example, pandas that we learned in the first period, but it's good for data handling. So there are a lot of libraries that can help you do different things. These are more specific Python libraries, most of which we will work with during this course, but there is plenty more. There is a nice visualization of the available GIS-related Python packages in Python that you can check out. It's made by Henrik Tenkanen, who was one of the founders of this course years ago. So it gives you a good sense of what libraries are out there and what are the relations